Hello, everybody, and welcome back after a bit of a hiatus to the Radical Respect podcast. I'm Kim Scott, and with me I have two exceptional people. Wesley.
I'm Wesley Faulkner. I'm back, and it's good to be here. This pause has given me some good time to recover, but a lot of ideas to talk about.
And thrillingly, we also have with us Ernest.
Hey everyone, Ernest Adams. I am super excited to be back. I took a 2.5-year hiatus to go do a corporate job and have stepped away from that job and have spent the last few months healing and refocusing efforts and energy. And I couldn't be in a better place with two wonderful people. So thanks for having me back.
Congratulations. The corporate detox is a good thing
real.
to do. Yeah, it's real. I remember when I left Google, I was sort of traumatized, and I was surprised at how traumatized I was. And I talked to some very senior person at Google, and she said to me, "Well, Kim, it's hard to leave a cult." And I thought, oh my gosh.
Well said.
That is kind of how it felt. So,
yes. Absolutely.
Welcome back to the world.
Thanks.
Welcome home.
Yes. Welcome home.
Thanks, Wesley. Thanks.
And Wesley, what have you been up to?
I've been working the last few months with building my own community. So, with people who are in this environment, stuck in a job that can't leave. Sometimes they need to figure out a way to survive without losing their humanity.
Yeah, a way to detox without leaving.
Yes. So I built a community called Work's Not Working, and I'm allowing people to share tips and tricks about how they get through, especially when things get really rough, but they can't leave.
I love that.
That's important.
I love that
that's
you're
really
doing
important.
that. It is really important. I'll share a trick someone told me. They were going to leave, but they couldn't leave for a year. And so they went and bought 365 of their favorite candy bars and put them in the freezer and ate one every day. They said that was and the year did pass and they did leave and they had their detox. So that's nice.
With a couple extra pounds from the candy.
Yeah.
I think they bought the little Halloween size one.
Okay.
You know, they didn't count. Well, I've been reading, but I've been reading in anticipation of writing a utopian novel, which I keep writing and throwing away and writing and throwing away. But it's about the high school class of 2020, and then it fast forwards to 2070, and they're looking back. They're having their 50th high school reunion, and we have turned a corner. It's utopian in that optimism is no longer denial, but there's reason. There's real solid reason to be optimistic about the future. So that's how I'm feeling with everything. Yeah.
So it will give us hope, Kim. It gives us a lot of hope reading it.
Yeah. But what I felt we could talk about today is not utopian. It's about the present. And there's a particular sort of I think about it in terms of founder mode. Like it's a particular kind of top-down, harsh management style that I thought we were done with. And maybe I was just being excessively optimistic. But I thought that we kind of all agreed that the best way to get things done is to build an organization that optimizes for collaboration, not for dominance. I don't know how to put it. Like maybe if we talk about it in terms of politics, I thought we all agreed that democracy worked better than an authoritarian regime. But we're talking about companies now. So I don't know. What do you all think? Help me with this.
Ernest, you had some thoughts. I would love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say I think it's a lovely concept, and I think a lot of people believe that, Kim. But for me, I looked at it and said I thought that was a bit of smoke and mirrors because everything that I saw, particularly in corporate America, still said very much power was aggregated at the top. And that the farther you were away from that center of power, the less voice you had inside the organization. And the farther you were away from privilege,
Yeah.
meant the less access you had to be able to truly tell your story and be authentic to who you were. So that has never felt, that has always been felt like the case and the reality to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wesley, what do you think?
Yeah, I think especially when you watch pictures or videos about authoritarian as opposed to democratic practices, you see that how I can see why authoritarian could be attractive, because usually it means that you can go faster because you can just do the thing.
Although that's an illusion.
It is an illusion. And it is short term in thinking.
Yeah.
Because you might get what you think you want. But anyone who's ever done product research would understand that sometimes really understanding the problem gets you to a better solution. And if you don't take the time to do that, then you can move down a flawed path. So yes, I want to move fast. AI is changing everything. I want to have people come back to work. I want to make sure that everyone writes their TPS reports and they're due on Fridays. Those are things that you can make happen really quickly with an authoritarian system.
Yeah.
And you don't have to hear the pushback of like why it's inconvenient for people. So from the top, you feel like you have direct control, like you're playing an instrument. From the bottom, you feel like you are whipsawing back and forth like some little plaything. So I will lean towards I would lean towards the more democracy portion, because the weird thing is like if we're going to harken back into working best practices and stuff like that,
yeah,
we have the tools, we have the resources, we have the books, we have the courses, we have all this. But if you are leaning towards power over proficiency, you won't take the time to learn, but you will just take the time to make decisions. And so that's where I fall on it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let me tell you an example, Ernest. This is and Wesley, I just started this new job at Google, and it's not like the most senior role in the world, but I was leading a decent sized team. And I jumped in and I decided that everything was chaotic. It had been, there were like hundreds of recent college grads, and it was like one giant 5th grade soccer team. Everybody was chasing the ball.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, and things were growing but I was like, oh, I know what to do. I'm going to break this down into 5 teams, and there's going to be a leader of each team, and each team is going to have a distinct responsibility, and it's going to be much better. And so I just did this. I talked to people. I was like, oh, it's obvious to me what the problem is. And everybody will be much happier when once we've rolled out my idea. And I rolled it out, and I had 5 direct reports at the time, and 3 of them just took other jobs. They just, because at Google, if you didn't like your boss, you could find another boss. You didn't even have to stop to talk.
Oh, they took other jobs inside the company.
Inside the company. Google. They didn't leave the company, but and
they left you.
They left me. They hated me, and they left me. And that was like conscious decision of the leaders of Google. I don't think it's this way anymore, but that power is a big problem, and nobody at the company should have unilateral decision-making authority, and so there were all these rules about what could happen that sort of did take, and even the founders and the CEO abided by the same rules. Like even Eric Schmidt, who was CEO at the time, or Larry or Sergey, they couldn't just hire anyone. They had to go through the hiring process. And at first I was a little frustrated. I was like, gosh. And then I was like, oh, this is actually much better. This is more in line with my beliefs. I do think in order to get stuff done, as a leader, you need to build great relationships with people and not rely on command and control. Like, I don't think command and control works. I thought that maybe that's a way to put it. I thought we all kind of agreed that command and control doesn't work. And clearly that's less true than maybe it wasn't even true 10 years ago, but it feels like command and control, the resurgence of command and control is happening. I don't know. What do you all think?
No, I think that's right. I mean, as you were talking, Kim, I was thinking about, I spent several years at Abercrombie and Fitch in a time when Abercrombie was what some would say was their heyday, but now we know it was their highly problematic time.
Yeah.
And when the company was growing really fast. Now, I was a recruiter at the time, and we all felt like that we had decision-making power as a team to make decisions. We didn't know. Now, looking back on it, we know that the CEO was making some very treacherous decisions for the organization at that time that was hidden from us.
Yeah.
So it was this optics of the folks working.
It was fake power to the people.
It was fake power to the people. And it created a lot of freedom and energy within the people that was harmful, but we didn't understand that harm until several years later when we look back and realize how fake it was.
Yeah.
So I think that's another example of how it shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Wesley.
I was just like, I think that the mentality is an old mentality, like you're saying, but it doesn't take into account the new systems and way things work now. But people aren't gaining that specific knowledge on all those domains, especially for larger companies. I remember I used to be a social media manager back in the day. And back in the day, social media management was just like typing in Facebook, like some stuff on social or Facebook or Twitter back then. And then it evolved to, okay, in order to get more engagement, you need to have better hashtags. And then so you need to research what hashtags are more engagement. Then it's like tagging the right people. Then you got to figure out who the people that you want to tag. And then it's like including images. And so now you have to do photo editing. And then it's like, oh, people like video. And so now you have to be a video editing. And then it's like trends, like, oh, you got to do this trend. And now you have to stay on top. And so the role itself and the time that I did it evolved so much. And just making a single change, like, oh, we'll just push it to social. That is something, if saying that then is different than saying that now because of all the different implications. And this is changing lightning speed for everything. And that's just one role and one job. Yeah. But but the knowledge stops at a certain level. Like they say if you draw, like if I told you to draw like a person, you would draw at the same fidelity that you stop drawing. So if you stop drawing as a kid, it would look like a kid's drawing. If you stop drawing as a teenager, it would look so on and so forth. And I feel like the same mentality about different jobs and how the business works for the people who are at the top who are making decisions, they're still kind of locked in that mentality, thinking that they know what it is. I used to do that job. No, you didn't used to do that job. You might have had the same title.
Yeah, totally. You know, it's interesting you bring up social media too. There's this great article. It's an interview with Zadie Smith. And she said, you know, when social media started, it was going to be awesome. We were just going to be talking to each other peer to peer, not mediated by the man. And that is not what we got. Right. So it's like social media is another great example where it was power to the people. And then it turned out, it was the opposite of that. And that's, like Facebook, that Zuckerberg's main conference room, where if you want to meet with him, you know what the name of the room where you have to meet with him is called?
Is it related to Caesar in some way? I don't know.
Only Good News. Only Good News.
Wow.
That is not soliciting feedback, is it? Like, that's like, I don't want to hear about any. I mean, how can that be? Like, you can't make that shit up.
Only Good News.
Only Good News.
What was that saying that your friend neighbor had? Only good news is bad news.
It's good. Good news is no news. Bad news is good news, and no news is bad news. I think that's how it goes. Yes.
Yeah.
Jim Morgan.
Yeah. Good news is no news. Yes.
Good news is
no news.
Yes.
Yeah. No news is bad news, and bad news is good news.
Yes.
And that's not what and that's the problem with the sort of snow melts at the periphery, and if you're at the center, you're not going to know unless you're trying to know, unless you're actually rewarding the candor when you get it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the three of us more or less agree. I mean, Ernest, you and I was joking with you. Like I think Wesley and I might be more people of the people, and you might be a little more. But maybe this is an unfair characterization.
It's a bit unfair, Kim.
You're a little more elite. You're in the.
Bougie. I mean, hey, I've been called bougie several times, and I'll own that a bit. But what I will say, I think there's really something. We were talking about the Toyota production system, and I think, I grew up in a company that ran off of Toyota production system, and it was all about the worker on the line should be stopping the line if they see an issue, right?
Yeah.
Because the person sitting in the office can't see that issue.
They don't know.
The person on the line. And so I do believe that adds a lot of value into an organization, and that those voices need to be heard. But I will say, on the flip side of that, those folks have to also be valued, so that they're not just stopping the line to go to the bathroom. Or stopping the line for a fake reason, right? Yeah. That they're really given feedback that is valuable and insights that will help.
And they have to be paid well enough.
Absolutely.
That they know that if they stop the line and screw up the business, it's going to hurt them. Like if all I think this is a huge part of this is where, like,
fear.
Not only fear, but I think that we forgot, at least in tech, we forgot about we were all for great ideas come from everywhere. At Apple, there was a directly responsible individual. Steve Jobs was like, we hire you to tell us what to do, not the other way around. And I think all of that was true. Like at Google, Shona Brown systematically stripped away unilateral decision-making authority from every manager at the company. And all of that was really good. The thing that didn't happen in tech was paying attention to how steep the compensation curve was.
Yes.
And money all went to a few, maybe that's an exaggeration. A lot of people in tech made plenty of money. But when compared to how much money the founders, most people did not make hundreds of billions of dollars. Only a few people made hundreds of billions of dollars. And when the gap between, one of my favorite books is Loon Shots. And the person who wrote that, Safi Bahcall, is a physicist. And so he tried to boil innovation down to a formula. And part of the formula is that the bigger the gap between the most highly paid person in the organization and the least highly paid person in the organization, the bigger that gap is, the higher the return on politics and the less innovation, because people spend all their time, understandably, trying to get promoted because it's incredibly valuable to get promoted. And that is a problem that in our, great ideas come from everywhere, but some of us are going to get paid a lot more than the others.
Exactly.
For our great ideas. And so I think that's part of the problem. I don't know if Toyota is, I don't know how equitable their pay systems are, but.
I don't know either.
Have you heard about that $10 million loss by an IBM exec and how that was treated? Have you heard that story before?
No.
Tell the story.
So some IBM exec, I forget when this is and how long ago this was, but they thought they had the next big thing, and then they worked the project, and it turned out to be a flop, and they lost $10 million. And the exec got pulled into the CEO's office and said, I kind of know what this is about, and I can see why I would be fired, that you have all the justification. And the CEO said, fire you? I just spent $10 million educating you. Why would I fire you? And it's like one of those things where it's just like, you learned something from this. This is something that you're going to take. This is going to be visceral. You're going to keep it with you, and you're going to make sure that you don't make some of those mistakes. But it was also taking a chance. And that type of investment, that type of vision of seeing someone as an AWS, Amazon has this, one of the pillars is be right a lot is their pillar, which means you're wrong, you're out of there. And so it's that being able to experiment, being able to make mistakes, and being able to learn from that, I think also allows for innovation to happen. Because if you aren't given the freedom to try something that's a little bit different, it may fail, but it may be successful. But all of that is also a learning opportunity, not just for the company, but for the individuals involved.
So I think we all go ahead, Ernest.
No, I was going to say, I think there's a great tie between innovation and this type of environment.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to, because working at companies, I've worked at many that are not innovative, and they are those types of environments where if you speak up, you're out of there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And then mistakes get hidden, and then they get repeated, and then really bad things happen. And yet, so we all agree, and I think that even if it was sometimes it was hypocritically implemented, there was broad agreement that in theory things work better when people can come in, build real human relationships at work, say what they really think, point out problems. If there's a problem on the line, you can pull the Kanban cord and stop the line. Like, things work better when one person doesn't have all the decision-making authority, because they can't know everything. Like, if you're going to have a group of people, you want everybody. And there's enormous research on this. Like, teams where there's a superstar who does all the talking do not perform as well as teams where everybody participates.
And it needs to be consistent, because once you start letting one person not skirt the rules for their own advantage, then then the whole thing kind of falls apart.
Yeah. So a participatory company works better than a founder mode company. And yet, here we are. Like, what? So how is this happening? Like, we all know this doesn't. Not only is it sort of cruel to people, it doesn't work as well.
Well, diverse organizations make more money than non-diverse ones. We all know that. This is what I was saying. Like,
we don't all know that. I think.
Oh, sorry. I should say there's. I should say there's books. There's studies.
The three of us. The three of us.
People who should know this, because it would be their job to be a successful organization. But it's power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And as people get more power, that's becoming the main thing, that they feel it personally rather than emanate it through the company as a general principle of, like, the company itself needs to be better.
Yeah, I think the thing about the diverse companies are better or make more innovative products is that it also, what people don't understand is that it's much harder to lead diverse teams, right? So it takes a lot more leadership skills, the more diversity and ideas you have coming in. And I think that's another piece. You have the power component, and you have the absence of good leaders who are willing to really invest in their leadership skills and in the development of their teams. That I think is another inhibitor.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say, do as I say, than do as I do. And
Yep. And I think of everything in terms of a 2x2, but I'm sensing a good, on the one hand, you have, like, elitism is at the bottom of the vertical line, and sort of collaboration or egalitarian, like, everybody brings something to the table. If you've hired someone, you've hired them for a reason, and you should honor that reason, I think.
Yes.
Whereas there's another school of thought, which is some people are just better than others, and everybody should just fall in line. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work as well. I'm just going to say that. And it felt to me, at least for much of my career, that there was broad understanding. And then on the other line is maybe, homogeneous to diverse. And if everybody is participating, no matter where they are in the hierarchy, and no matter, what their background is, then you're going to get more out of a team than if the opposite is. That just feels to me so obvious. Yeah. And yet, how could it be that we're back to command and control, and we just need a tiny number of elite people, and we're going to give them all the money and all the decision-making power, and the rest of us are going to be like, who wants that world? Like, and yet a lot of people do. Like, how did this happen?
On our next show,
we tackle that question.
Yes, and I think the other thing on our next show we should talk about is was I deluding myself? Like, was Google as wonderful and egalitarian as I thought it was? I mean, except money. Even then, I knew that that money was not being spread equally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to be back. It's good to be recording, and I love these conversations. I hope to keep it going. And if you have an opinion on what we should talk about in this new season, please leave a comment on your reviews. We would love for you to put in your reviews, and we would love to see you next time.
Good to talk to you both.
Great to talk to both of you. I feel happier about the whole world as a result of our conversation. So thank you.